Welcome to Meeple, uniting players from around the world. A 30-minute exploration of PJ and Gareth's board game experiences from across both sides of the Atlantic. Each episode, they share their thoughts and opinions on the world of board games, including their favourite themes, games, hot topics, and much, much more.
Hey, welcome back to part 3 of our Gen Con story. The finale is my story, and as always, I am PJ.
I'm Gareth.
And I am really excited to conclude this story. How are you, Gareth?
I'm good. It's like the epic finale. You know, the highlight of them all. I've been looking forward to your anecdotes and your thoughts on your many days of Gen Con. And
I have worked really hard to keep my perspective and opinions to myself these past 2 weeks, and just let But first week was the Instagram community and just let them tell their stories. And then last week we heard from designers.
And this week's all about you.
Yeah.
It's all about PJ. Maybe that's what I'm just going to call this episode. That's it.
I don't know about that, but thanks for the vote of confidence.
That's okay. No problem. So this is like episode 49, and we started this on 47, like you say, about the community. Yep. So anyone who hasn't listened to the episode, do you want to quickly remind people kind of how you got to Gen Con, what days you went on, and kind of your traveling experience to get there?
So Gen Con is 4 days. It's
4 days.
Yes, it's Thursday to Sunday, right? That's the official thing. Technically, there's Wednesday is kind of a trade day.
Okay.
So if you get a trade day badge, which costs a little more, it's reserved for librarians, teachers, and educators, and retailers. And it's a lot of the business side of, there's seminars that you participate in. So like, there's no shopping, there's no vendor hall.
You can't shop or vendor hall.
No, there's no ticketed events.
It's trade and deals and
right
engagement.
Exactly. There's a couple of other things that we did get involved in on Wednesday, but my wife and I traveled on Tuesday, so we got there a day earlier, right? So we got 4 days, then we had Wednesday, that's 5 days, and we went in on Tuesday, so that's 6 days. But we decided to leave Monday morning, so that's 7 days.
See, so it's quite a bit of investment from, I guess, your holidays or your work-life schedule.
It is. And for my wife and I, this is like our vacation. So this is what we do, right? We take our vacation and we do this. And if you recall, and those who listened, the week before Gen Con, Katie and I were in Washington, D.C. for a work conference. And so we were there Monday through Saturday in D.C. So we flew there, did our work thing, flew home on Saturday, got home Saturday evening to massive weather and storms. Spent the day on Sunday doing laundry, basically washing the clothes that we had packed for DC, and then repacked it for Gen Con, because we left Tuesday morning. So, yeah.
Hectic lifestyle.
It was, which is why we had kind of a hiatus on the podcast. I was busy traveling. You were busy holidaying with your family, which worked out nicely.
So you, I guess everyone. I mean, how far was it for you to travel in?
So for me, it's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah,
4 hours. 4 hours because I'm in Central Time Zone.
Oh yeah,
Indiana's in Eastern. But it's a 3-hour drive. So that was easy enough. So it's very easy for us to do that. So we arrive about 4:00 in the afternoon, just in time to check into our hotel. And a hotel we stayed in for 6 nights, and parked the car, got situated, walked around. It was really cool. So you can walk around. You can go into the ICC. That's the Indiana Convention Center. So I'll talk about, when I say ICC, you'll now know what I'm talking about.
Got it.
So you can walk around the concourses, which are public. You just can't go into any of the rooms or the halls or anything where all the exhibitors are setting up. So it's cool because you can see like pallets for Funko or Fantasy Flight Games or Ravensburger and their Lorcana. Because that's where they have everything set up. And you can just walk and look at their stuff. And you can see like pallets with just empty junk, right? It's all the waste.
Getting ready. Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. And it's really quiet. So there's something kind of serene about it. Big thing this year was they're in the process of replacing the carpet in the concourse, right? And so Gen Con fans are really attached to the carpet that was previously there. There was all kind of like people purchased. There was an auction months ago, and they bought carpet square, the actual carpet squares that were removed, and then proceeded to make crafting items out of it. Keychains, earrings.
What were people paying for a tile? Do you know?
I do not know that.
Okay.
What I do know is
there's some
that carpet is gross.
That's been well worn, well trodden, well spilt upon, and generally.
I really enjoyed the new carpet. The new carpet was beautiful, and it because the old carpet was this burgundy and orange. The new carpet was a gray, and it brightened up the hallways, so it felt larger. But hey, you know what? Nostalgia it's
a wonderful thing.
It's part of the human condition, so it's pretty great. There were people who made shirts or skirts, or they made clothing out of fabrics that followed the pattern of the carpet. How cool is that? So now, be clear, they did not make clothing out of the actual carpet squares.
They recycled down the fabric to make thread.
They went and purchased. They found the pattern. There were some cool enamel pins that some vendors were selling in the shape of the carpet squares. That was cool. I'm like, all right, I can get behind. The real carpet, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
The other thing, Tuesday night. So taking advantage, my wife and I had a lovely meal at this very nice Italian restaurant. So, and it was quiet. It was, so we could sit at a table and play a card game like Fluttering Souls or something while we're waiting for our meal. Go back to the hotel, enjoy the hot tub and the spa, and then, get rested up for the next day.
Gaming time.
Yeah. But as you recall, gaming doesn't start till Thursday. So now we wake up, it's Wednesday. So what does one do on a Wednesday?
Play games?
A little bit. So my sister-in-law, her husband, and our nephew live an hour south.
Right. Perfect.
And my nephew turned 3 in August. So this month. August. I'm gonna get in trouble if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
But he just turned 3. He had not yet turned 3 at Gen Con. And so the plan was we were going to be there, hang out with him and my sister-in-law during the day. So we went to the Children's Museum. We went to a local cider restaurant and had a flight of ciders and meal. And it was hanging out with family. So that was fun. And then we were dropped off at the consignment sale, because this is something else that happens on Wednesday. If you're selling games at the consignment sale, this is the time to drop them off.
Yeah.
So we stood in line with everyone else, had our big bags and totes of games that we were going to sell, and waited in line. And then finally we're processed. They took our games. And then we were free to go back to the hotel, enjoy the spa and the hot tub and the swimming pool, play a few games, just kind of relax. But what we did was there was a group of us from the Instagram community that agreed to get together on Wednesday night for dinner. Brilliant. So we went to, it was called the Punch Bowl Social is the name of the restaurant.
Sounds like a great Instagram account name as well.
Yeah. I know, right? It has a bowling alley. You and I were talking offline before the meeting. Bowling with your family. So there's a bowling alley in the restaurant. And so a whole bunch of us got together and had a meal and got to visit. And this is our first time meeting each other, with a couple of exceptions. 926 Games, Brian Hoffman was there, who I met at Origins. He was featured in our Origins episode. He did not record a soundbite in episode 47, which was part 1 of Gen Con, because he had gotten the con crud. So he was
Stay
not
clear.
feeling well. Yep. So yeah. So that was good. So a whole bunch of us, I think it was about 10 or 15 of us hanging out. Finished dinner, went back to the lobby of our hotel, played some games, and then called it a night. And then we started on Thursday morning, which was day 1.
It's a lovely build-up. It's like a
Right?
pre-gaming, bit of spa time, eating, drinking.
Yep.
Not spending too much money on games. Just get yourself nicely prepared.
Yeah. And this is what's great about Instagram, is that we can connect ahead of time and plan this. So it's like we're going to get a core group of us are going to get together, and we're going to have a meal and then play games. So that was really nice. It was a good warm up. And then day 1 of Gen Con, Thursday.
1. So over those 4 days, I guess you did some shopping, you played some games, you did some testing, you hung out with people.
Yep.
What's the highlights on that? I guess let's start with shopping.
Shopping.
What stuff did you buy? Is it worth buying? Was it cheaper than if you just bought it from your local Titan game store?
So it's really interesting. You have a lot of Gen Con exclusives. So is it cheaper? Initially, no. But on Sunday, on the last day, that's when the deals, right?
Yeah.
Because the vendors are looking to offload the remainder of their inventory.
Yeah.
And you can be like, if I give you $20 in cash, we don't even have to do a credit card exchange. So you don't have to pay a fee, whatever the deal is. And we did capitalize.
And Gen Con exclusives, is that like a different colored box, or is that an early release? What does exclusive mean?
Sometimes it's a promo that you'll only receive at Gen Con. I mean, it's exclusive in that you can only get it at Gen Con, right?
Okay.
It's mostly in the form of a promo card or artwork, or if you buy the game, you get a Gen Con exclusive, like an enamel pin with the game logo that you can't buy. You'd have to buy it in a second market.
Yeah.
Some of which we sent to you in the mail that I believe you did receive.
Which has now arrived, and I have a bag of... I've given up my first pin badge to the other Gareth today. So they are now spreading their way across the UK. Thank you very much for my bag of goodies. Very, very enjoyable.
Oh, of course. That was the other thing too, is back to Wednesday night, we were all exchanging like our Instagram logoed stickers and buttons. I had a bunch of Meeple to Meeple stickers and buttons that I was giving to everyone. So that was a lot of fun. So you see a lot of that, but the best deals are on Sunday. But we had pre-ordered through Hache Games. That was Iki and the expansion Akibono.
Mm-hmm.
So that one we pre-ordered. You have been talking about Iki for at least 2 years. We looked at it and we're like, I think we want to purchase this. Akibono was coming out and we're like, let's go ahead and get both.
Just get both.
And so we did. We pre-ordered the whole shebang. We did it last year. We pre-ordered Brazil and Acropolis from Hache based on your recommendations at UK Games Expo. So basically,
whatever I recommend for the Games Expo,
pre-order.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. That's how that works. It's great. I love how UK Games Expo falls before Gen Con.
That is,
so you're like, great.
Yeah. What's interesting is, I guess it's maybe too close to Essen. I mean, there's a little bit of releases, but I mean, I'm not sure I'd be that. If someone said, "Oh, there's a promo or there's a sticker or badge," I'm not sure I'd part my money unless it was significantly cheaper. If it's just a few promos, the promos are probably not even game changing. It might just be a promo of different art.
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It really depends upon the game and the publisher. So it's a whole gambit, right? You've heard me describe Gen Con as being vast, and there's so many options, and just in the vendor hall, so it really varies wildly.
I saw some photographs of people's halls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, insane amounts of games.
So there's a game that we purchased at one point during Gen Con. I don't remember what day it is, so I can tell the story now. It was Tara. She is at Tara's Tabletop on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter, who is 12 or 13, Eliana, she taught us That's Not a Hat by Ravensburger. It's this really cool party game, a lot of fun. We ended up buying 3 copies. We bought one for ourselves, we bought one for our boss and his family, and we bought another one. And it came with a promo like headband, like a sweatband for your brow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of a promo you can't get anywhere. So it's not just a card. Sometimes it's gimmicky.
It's an accessory.
It is an accessory. So that's an example of a good promo. That was a fun game. If you can get a copy, you should.
We played it at Craig's.
Yeah.
PimpCon. I think it's Marie had it, and I don't think I even got a go because it kept going round the table and didn't get to me, and then I lost because I didn't even get a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, I found it. I mean, it's quite a brain frying. We're trying to keep up with where the cards have gone, but yes. That's Not a Hat. Highly recommended from both of us. It was
absolutely. And then we bought Stool Pigeon by Barrel Age Games.
Yeah.
Caleb talked about that.
Yeah.
Also, I knew that it was going to be released, so we picked up Next Station Tokyo. Next Station London was such a hit. Had to get Tokyo, so we picked up Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then there's some impulse buys, right? Like we bought Rome in a day. So we're like, okay, that looks cool.
Yeah, I've seen that around on Instagram. I haven't really investigated it.
It's a fun little tile placement. But then the beauty of, if you go back to, I guess it's episode 38 or 39, I don't know what it was. It was the Geekway to the West episode. One of the beauties of Geekway being early in May is we got to play a lot of games. So we knew what we wanted to purchase.
Yeah.
Right? And then we get UK Games Expo with your recommendations. So whatever you recommend, we pre-order. Whatever we played at Geekway, we're like, if we're going to buy it, we'll buy it at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Mille Fiori was a game that we bought at and Bamboo. So Mille Fiori and Bamboo, we both played at Geekway. We purchased them at Gen Con. And then some impulse buys on Sunday that were Linked to is a cooperative trivia game. That's really interesting. We didn't know how it was going to work out. Linked to, Linkto.
Yeah.
They've got a travel version. They've got a food version. You have a series of cards, and you have these trivia questions, and we have to cooperatively, figure out what question goes with what card, and then at the very end we find out if we're right. And then you can try it again, and the levels increase up to 5. It's really cool.
That's cool.
And then Deadly Dowagers was the last impulse purchase on Sunday. We're walking the vendor hall. And we're like, they had 1 copy left. And they're like, you could have it because it was their copy that they were demoing, like on the counter. So it's like they sell out and they're like, well, this is our last copy. You can have it for a considerable discount because it's been opened. So yeah, there's a wild variety of deals in terms of shopping across the 4 days. And then we got Star Trek Discovery Black Alert by WizKid Games. That was free. The designers gave us a copy they're trying to promote it. It's their new game, and they, as part of the content creators, they're like, well, here's a copy. Play it. Let us know what you like. And they asked us kindly to plug the game, and once we get a chance to play it, we will. So that's kind of the shopping aspect. There's a lot of shopping.
And what was the game of the show? Even played, demoed, tested? Is there anything that you went the best gaming experience? That's a better question.
That is a better question, because the game of Gen Con was Disney's Lorcana.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to talk about.
Meh. Meh.
We avoided the crowds of Lorcana.
I'm no interest at all. Maybe I should.
You know,
but
so
meh.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is we would go to the vendor hall during the day. Well, let's back up. We would play test. That's how our day began. Every single day was a play test session. Then we'd go to the vendor hall. Then we go back to the play test. The play tests were booked in advance.
Right, so you had to book, I think you said.
These
before,
are ticketed events. They're free, but they're ticketed events. So you have to, schedule them in advance. So it was play test for 2 hours, go to the vendor hall for 4 hours, grab some lunch, play test for 2 hours, then go to open gaming and just play with people all night. So that's the schedule per day. Right.
And out of those plays, did you book play testing just for the mornings? Is that kind of how you scheduled your day, or could you go anytime?
Yes. No, you can, because if they need play testers, they'll just pull you. They'll pull you in. But we have discovered after all these years, the 10 a.m. is when the vendor hall opens, and there's the rushing of the nerds, as they call it, into the vendor hall at 10 a.m. I have no interest in being involved in a massive rush of humans into a small confined space. So the beauty is we go to playtest at 8 a.m. Right? So from 8 to 10 a.m.
I wouldn't even be up.
Oh no, yeah, we're up. We're up and ready to go. We're up at 6.
So your advice would be, if you don't want the latest crazy card game, you do some chilled out playtesting, 8 o'clock through to
10 a.m. Yeah, 8 to 10 a.m.
And then wander into the crowds.
Yeah, because the beauty is you play test a game, and then you walk out and you walk down the concourse, and you just walk in, and there's no crowd, and it's great. So we do that every day, and then we do another play test. I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to schedule next year and in the future an 8 to 10, followed by a 10 to 12. We're just going to do all our play testing in the morning.
Get up to lunch and then do your halls in the afternoon.
Right, and then we're free to game with people.
Yeah,
or whatever, and that seems to serve us well.
Highlights for playtesting?
So we playtested 5 games. Time Lancers by Party Tales. We heard from them.
Yep.
Chef's Table by Tunnel Monster. We heard from them. In the Stars by Tate Wu. We heard from him.
I think that was I'm really intrigued by that one. I need to see more.
There's another one called Kelp, which will be coming out on Kickstarter, I believe, in December. Kelp is a 2-player game. I think I mentioned this about the shark and the octopus. Did I tell this story?
Yeah.
And then we played a game called Emissary, which is early. It is so early in development. But what's cool is we got to play test Emissary with Eric and his son Carter. I believe his name is Carter. So Eric and Carter, when we get there at 8 in the morning, we usually get there about 7:30. Eric and Carter are always there before us, and they always get slots number 1 and 2. And Katie and I are religiously slot 3 and 4. This matters because when they call your numbers, you get first choice of what's available to play test, right?
Oh, so it's not like you don't actually just book a playtest slot with a game.
Yeah.
You have... Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's just how they manage the crowd, right? And no one misses out. Everyone's going to play test. But we're religiously 3 and 4. So it's really funny. We do this every year. This has been 3 years now. We get there at 7:30, and Eric and Carter are standing there waiting. And we've never talked to them.
How early do you need to get there to get number 1 and 2?
7:15 to 7:20. Yeah. And so we get to see them every year, and they're always there. And we do this without scheduling it.
Yeah.
This year, we finally exchanged contact information so that we can keep in touch with them throughout the course of the year.
Next year, you've got to get 1 and 2.
Well, the beauty is that on Saturday, Eric and Carter did not play test. So we got slots 1 and 2.
In that case, mission accomplished.
Yes, we got it. But we have to beat them. Like, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
We
The
have to
days
get
they're
slots 1 and 2 before them. And we'll try that next year. So, Eric and Carter, if you guys are listening,
Yeah.
we're gunning for you next year.
We're coming for you.
Yeah. Chef's Table was probably the highlight. We
Okay.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it did sound really good.
So that was cool. And that's kind of Thursday. We got to play a bunch of games. We played Distilled with Tabletop Vibes, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
We got to play. God, we played so many games. It was just a lot of fun. And met so many of the Instagram community. That was really amazing. I really enjoyed that. The beauty of the hotel we stayed at is that it's connected to the ICC via Skybridge. So my wife, who is more of an introvert than I am, and is by 8:00, she's winding down for the day. I'm starting to ramp up, right? I'm like, let's start gaming. And so she can walk back to the hotel without having to go outside on the street level. And as she's walking back, if she's walking with anyone, they're all Gen Connors. So I feel safe knowing that she's secure in her walk back to the hotel, so that I can be me and have my experience. She can go back to the hotel and relax, go to the hot tub, sit in front of the TV, take a long shower, whatever it is that she wants to do to unwind in the evening. And that's really nice because it caters to our two different personalities. I could stay out till 2 a.m. playing with everybody, playing games and whatnot, and she can relax. And we could both be secure in that knowledge of where we are. So that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. Have you got any stories? Any particular highlights?
So one was we met with Kristen Mott, and I think I told this story, so I'll be brief. We met with her, and this is the designer of Dinosaur Exhibit, and she was so kind enough to work with our boss, who's got 6 kids at home, and she's autographed a game and gave it to us, and we got to meet with her, and that was a lot of fun. Learning That's Not a Hat was great with Tara and her daughter. And then Brian at Running Board Gamer on Instagram taught us the black box version of Glory to Rome. That was a really great experience.
Beautiful game.
Well. Saturday night was the CGE content creator night, basically. It was all these content creators and game designers just hanging out. We played Lost Ruins of Arnak. You heard that story a lot in episode 47. It was me and Brian, Running Board Gamer.
That's right, yeah.
Meeple Mike and Board Game Angel. And we kept getting interrupted because we were, meeting people for the first time and hanging out. So yeah, that was a highlight as well. Was Saturday night. That was a lot of fun. That was my late night. That was from like 3 a.m.
Good
before
work.
I got home. Yeah, I'm getting old, man.
Did you get back
do that
up
much
for 8:30?
Yes, of course I did. Of course I did. Yeah. The beauty of doing the early morning is while all the crazy youngsters have been gaming till 5 a.m. and they're in sleep, you have the run of the city and the convention at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can get breakfast and coffee wherever you want to. I know where all the good breakfast spots are. No point in sharing them because nobody's going to get up because they're all going to be sleeping in. And I don't want to give away all my secrets. So yeah, we get coffee and breakfast, and then we can just casually head and avoid the crowd. The crowd is what you want to avoid the most. You don't just being packed in like sardines. There's a lot of food trucks at Gen Con, and they're normally on Georgia Street, but due to construction, they moved between Lucas Oil Stadium and the ICC is South Street. So they moved there, which now that they've done the move, we're hoping they stay there forever.
Okay. Just more convenient, is it?
Much more convenient.
Yeah.
More access to seating. There's a lot of picnic tables. It's larger. You're not packed in. Yeah, I hope it stays there because that makes sense. So yeah.
You said that Katie was less of a extrovert or more of an introvert. What would Katie say her favourite things or the games of the con if I was to ask her?
She would say that playtesting in the morning. Like, I think her favorite activity at Gen Con is the playtesting because you get to see games in development. She was really excited because we got to playtest Time Lancers. She playtested it last year, so this was her second time. So she got to see the evolution and changes.
Nice, quite exciting.
So I asked her that question, and she said that's her favorite thing about Gen Con as a whole. And I was like, well, if Gareth were to ask,
which I have.
Well, no, if Gareth were to ask what was your favorite game we play tested,
I didn't ask that. Yeah.
Do you want to ask that? Why don't you go ahead and ask me that?
What was Katie's favorite game
that she play tested?
That she play tested at Gen Con.
Yeah, that is a great question, Gareth.
Between 7:30 and 10 o'clock.
I'm so glad you asked me that. She said Chef's Table was probably her favorite experience this year. While she enjoyed Time Lancers, she was like, Chef's Table.
That is
really
everyone listening, that is the game to watch. The hotness.
From Tunnel Monster. It is a cooperative dice placement game where you're working in a kitchen. So Chef's Table, guys.
Katie's number one hotness from Gen Con 2023.
So the other unique thing about the exhibit halls that we didn't even talk about, and I know we've hit over our 30 minutes, but we're going to...
It doesn't matter. The Gen Con ones are a little bit special.
They are. They really are. And that's the demos, right? So Happy Meeples had reached out. We talked before Gen Con. This was their first. And they were like, they didn't sign up for any events. I'm like, what do we do? What do I expect? So if you've never been to Gen Con, like you haven't, Gareth.
I know. Or Essen. I know.
Yeah. You don't have to do events. You could spend every day in the vendor hall. Because almost every exhibitor hall, vendor, they'll do demos where you can sit down at the table and demo a game and play a round or two. And we did get to do some of those. And unfortunately, of all the ones we demoed, none of them were available. They will be soon. So, and I want to tell you about a couple.
So these are finished games, but they're not play tested. They're done.
Right.
And in theory, they're either to purchase or soon to be purchased or soon to be released.
Yes.
So what were some of the highlights?
So Ticket to Ride Legacy.
Did you get to play that without ruining it? Or
yeah. So what they do is they demo. They have the game set up as if you had just bought the game.
Okay,
so it's game one. Which is cool because unlike all the other Ticket to Rides, you are representing a company.
I'm intrigued by this
that owns a rail line.
This feels like a purchase.
It's also one of the things that stood out for us during the demo of Ticket to Ride Legacy is you can claim a route, putting your trains down normally. And you know how if you do that, that's it. Well, there is I think it's if you claim a colored route that matches the color of your company, you get to draw a card. So that's kind of cool, is that I can claim a route and draw a train card. And I'm like, I like that. So we've decided, we were on the fence, watching all the videos of our good friend Dennis, Ordinary Board Gamer. We know how he feels about Ticket to Ride, but
I think it's his favorite game.
I think it is, right? But he got a copy of Legacy, an advanced copy, and just really enjoyed his videos. Katie and I were on the fence, and after the demo, we're gonna buy it. Yeah, it's gonna be worthy.
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's a purchase.
So that was the first one. The second demo was Tokaido Duo. This is the 2-player version of Tokaido.
Yep.
And it was released. If you look at Board Game Geek, it says 2022, but I don't think it's been released in the US.
I think it might have been over here. I think it's been released.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got the original. I've not tried the Duo.
I've not. Yeah. We also have Tokaido.
Yeah.
We really enjoy it. The 2-player is so much better. It's so much better. because if I had to look this up because it's so cool. So you have a pilgrim who visits the temples and the forests and the seashores and hot springs, but then you have a merchant, so these are all different meeples that you control, and the merchant crafts things and makes handmade items, and then you have an artist who does the painting of the panoramas. So you have 3 different meeples that move across, and that's kind of cool, right? So Takedo Duo, we're really looking forward to that from Fun Forge Games. We saw Patrician by Calliope Games. We got a demo of Mist Wind, which seems to be really popular. To be honest, it wasn't that impressive, and I can't even tell you why because I've already forgotten it. Like it was so underwhelming that I don't even remember. I don't remember the details.
Even the box looks a bit. It's not. It says it's not out till 2024. Build efficient trade route networks with your transport whales and outposts.
And it's the whales are cool, but the gameplay just kind of.
Board looks quite pretty, but
it is a beautiful game.
I mean, if the game was based on the art, I'd be skipping it already. But
we did see Marine World expansion for Ark Nova, which looks it looks.
You've got me interested again.
Oh yeah, it's really good. We also saw a demo for the first time of Luthier by Paverson Games.
How'd you spell that?
Luthier. Luthier. Okay, so this is Paverson Games are the guys who brought you Distilled. And Luthier is you are creating musical instruments. This game looks like, visually, immediately the first thing Katie and I thought was Rococo.
This was at the expo, but I couldn't get near it.
Okay. It was not at Origins. It was at Gen Con, and they were showing it off. So Rococo came to mind in terms of design.
It looked awesome, but I just couldn't get to talk to somebody about it.
It's fantastic, and I highly suggest people really look at this game. If you haven't bought Distilled and played Distilled, you should, because that's a solid game. Bring that into this musical instrument construction and selling. Magical.
So alcohol and music is the combined ultimate game.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Any other demos?
Yeah, we demoed Empire's End. Which turned out to be really cool. We didn't have a lot of expectations. We weren't sure what to expect. We were like, we're going to go ahead and give it a try.
It's a civilization game, is it?
It is a civilization game, but it's the end of a civilization. So we're constantly being attacked by barbarians, and each round you auction to avoid being attacked. But at some point, as you put your resources in the pile to avoid, by allowing the attack to go through and attack your civilization, you get all the resources that people have put into the pile. So
it does look nice.
It's a unique experience. We really enjoyed that. The last game that we didn't demo it, but we got to watch a demo of it, and that was Queen by Midnight. Beautiful game. But the problem is that it's 3-player. And so
3-player and 3-player only.
No, it's I think it's 3 and up.
3 to 6. 3 to 6.
3 to 6. Yeah. And so that's a problem. We need the 2-player. And so we kind of gave a pass on that.
Very pretty.
But it's very cool. Our good friend Jerry, Tabletop Worldwide on Instagram, he got a copy of it. He was really jazzed. And so that was cool. And then I realized I'm forgetting one last thing. I'm staring at it right in front of me right now on the shelf. And that's, I was able to purchase a copy of Fortress America. It was 1987 by Milton Bradley, the old vintage game that I purchased at the consignment sale. And we played that last weekend. And God, you want to talk about nostalgia? Oh man, that took me back. And I really enjoyed that. That was fun.
So if you could sum up Gen Con in 5 words. Oh, and you haven't done your Game of the Expo yet. We'll do that at the same time. So it's your gaming highlight of the Expo.
My gaming highlight of the Expo. Wow, my gaming highlight. Like my favorite game that I played with someone.
No, just the gaming too. Playing with people, playing games.
I mean, I really come back to That's Not a Hat. There were like 8 of us around a table, and that was just so much fun. Although I would say that hanging out with Matthias, the evil jerk gamer, and Brian, 9 to 6 games, finding a table to play at that may be of questionable origins. I'm not going to say anymore. But making room for our people to play in the hotel.
Sometimes you've got to make your own space, right?
Sometimes you do. Spaces
sometimes
at a premium.
Acquire conference rooms, which happened in the past at our expos. We just, this room is now ours, and
exactly.
Space. And then, how would you summarize your Gen Con 7-day trip?
And you want 5 words.
5 words. 5 of your best words as well.
Well, okay. So there's 2 of them, and one of them is not mine. So I'm going to give you because the tagline for Gen Con is 5 words. The best 4 days in gaming and that's not mine. That's Gen Con's. I would have to say Gen Con is so very vast. Gen Con is so very vast.
I need to go. I need to get a trip.
You do. You need to go. You need to come, spend a week with me.
Or we need to both go to Essen.
Ooh.
But my work diary, I have to sort my work diary out because every year it clashes with something that we do. And this year I told them to avoid it. And yes, again, they
scheduled something, right?
Yeah.
It's my understanding that Essen is really focused on like the industry and sales.
Industry, but then if we'll just get an Airbnb and then we'll play the games.
Okay.
With some other people. That's what we need. We need to
plan
that. Maybe that's your European tour. It's good. So that's the end of Gen Con. Next week is episode 50.
50. We are going to turn the big 5-0. Wow.
It's older than us.
And it is. It is older than us.
Wow.
We're close, though.
We are. Right then. So with that, thank you. I'm about to say thank you, Gen Con.
Thank you, Gen Con.
PJ. Thank you, Gen Con, for providing PJ and all of our friends across the Instagram community and, I guess, the industry on such an entertaining 3 epic episodes.
Yes.
If anyone got any questions, anyone's got any highlights, please do share. We love hearing about your own experiences at conventions. And with that, PJ, the episode was about you. Let you say the final words.
Gen Con is so very vast. It took us 3 episodes to tell the entire story. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Please subscribe. And as always, we love to hear your thoughts and ideas. So make sure to leave those in the comments. And don't forget, you can also chat with us both on Instagram @Meeple to Meeple.